Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first mock of Chancellor International. I am Kazi Falguni Eshita, your course coordinator. With the help of a colleague, I would try to present what an actual speaking IELTS test would look like. Hopefully, this will answer many of your queries, and towards the end of the video, you would have a giveaway of mock tests, so please stay tuned. Shall we begin now? Okay, sir. What's your full name?
My name is Muhammad Tafsirul Islam Azad.
What can I call you, sir?
You may call me Tafsirul.
Okay, Tafsirul. So, going directly into the exam, when was the last time you went to the cinema?
The last time I went to the cinema was in 2019, before COVID. I believe, my memory might be spotty, but I believe it was to watch Avengers Infinity War.
Okay. How popular are cinemas where you live?
Cinemas are extremely popular where I live, and it's usually, there are two cinemas that people usually frequent, and people usually frequent it in spades. It is quite a popular part of our culture.
Okay. What sorts of films or movies do you enjoy most?
I enjoy most things that are fictional, but I am quite partial to detective thrillers and superhero movies.
If I may satisfy my curiosity, why detectives? Why not any other genres?
Usually, detective movies subvert most of the movie cliches in the sense that most of the problems that people deal with there have to be within the realm of logic and how people use intelligence.
So, where do you prefer to watch films? At the cinema or at home?
I usually vastly prefer watching movies at home over watching movies in cinema, purely due to the fun aspect of watching with friends versus watching with friends in a crowded public place.
Okay. Tafsirul, you have a cue card right in front of you. You would have 1 minute to prepare, and basically you would have to speak for 1.5 to 2 minutes. So please don't mind me if I stop you in the middle. I will tell you when to start speaking. Your 1 minute preparation time starts now. Okay, sir, your time is up. You may start speaking now.
A shopping mall that I often frequent with my family is Jamuna Future Park. It is located in the outskirts of Uttara, and traveling there is quite easy and quite uh, simple, in the sense that you can always travel by car or by bus due to the frequent or due to the commonplace existence of overbridges and flyways. That journey is often mitigated significantly. Usually, the kind of shops that Jamuna Future Park has entails to, like something related to phones, things related to phones and devices and clothing, and which it is quite popular for. But the food court is not something to scoff at, and in fact, it is one of the best in most other places that consist of food courts in Bangladesh itself. I believe it is the best place for you to go shopping if you're within the Uttara region or within any region that's surrounding around Uttara. because it is quite easy to access and it has some of the best quality products within it that you may access.
All right. I believe your time is coming to an end. Let's move on to part 3 then. Okay. So where do your people in your country buy food? From where do they do their grocery shopping or whatever food might be?
Usually, whenever people in my general town usually go for food shopping or grocery shopping, they tend to go for the cheapest and safer places, which tend to be food stall, grocery or vegetable stalls that's placed around the sector.
That's good.
And it usually tends to be.
Is it better to buy clothes in small shops?
I would say that if you are someone that does not usually frequent high caliber society places and someone that isn't involved in events every day of the month, then smaller shops are better for you to buy your garments or your clothing requirements from.
Okay. So what are the advantages of internet shopping?
The advantages. Recently, quite the devastating set of events occurred in the form of COVID-19. And in that case, in those times, we truly came to understand the importance of e-shopping, because for example, if you're busy, for example, if you are in a scenario where there is a worldwide health crisis going on, then e-shopping would be infinitely more helpful than going out and buying things on your own.
I completely agree with you there, sir. So what, in your opinion, is good customer service?
It would be the classic motto of service with a smile.
Okay.
Because nowadays the general climate of daily life tends to be quite stressful, and if you go to a place where someone is selling products and that person himself is just as gloomy as everything else around you, you in turn would be gloomier when you are within the purchase experience. But if the person is giving you service with a smile and providing you helpful advice and hints, your day automatically becomes better.
Why do some shops provide better customer service than other shops? What do you think?
It usually comes down to the quality or the kind of shop that we are talking about. For example, if we are talking about a shop that specifically specializes in providing food stuff, or providing the kind of service that requires a lot more engagement with customers, in that case, I would say that those kinds of services, they usually tend to provide better customer service.
Okay. How important is customer service when you're thinking about the success of a shop?
I would say in the short term, when your shop has just started out and your service is particularly catered to customer service, then in that case, it would be vastly more important than most other aspects besides advertisement, because through word of mouth and through your own service, you prove through action to your customers that yes, we can provide the kind of service that you would be coming back for every day.
So why do you think shopping is such a popular activity?
I would say that shopping is something that's to boil it down to its simplest terms, shopping is to buy stuff, buy resources for yourself. And since it is something we have to do frequently, since humanity needs a lot of things to survive in the modern climate, I would say that in that case, shopping is one of the things that you spend a lot of time doing.
Yes.
So in that case, it would be, the reason it is so popular is because usually it is the activity that you do most, and it is usually a lot more popular when you do it with other people.
Sir, very well put. So, what are the advantages to society of a highly developed shopping center?
In a society like that, the general advantages are that your own local branding would be so well known that usually if you just speak its name, people would immediately recognize it. Okay,
Okay.
in terms of being a local, that would bring a sense of pride when foreigners and tourists talk about it, and it would also be a way to show the growth of your country.
Okay, good. Is society becoming increasingly materialistic? What do you think?
I believe the society becoming increasingly materialistic is an aspect that comes with the general direction that our livelihoods are going towards. Humanity began as a forefront of survival. At those times when conflict was rife, fighting was something that was a lot more popular. Okay, and these days when buying and selling and trading is so much more integral to our lives, becoming materialistic is it's an unfortunate side effect of that.
It was a very pleasant experience talking to you, Tafsirul, but there would be places where you can improve if you want to. First thing, the part that I like most about you is that you didn't stumble in the middle of your conversation. So that is a big plus point for you, because in the original examination, you would be marked 25% on your pronunciation, 25 on fluency, then your coherence and cohesion, that is how well is your paragraphs and sentences connected together, and then your grammar and your vocabulary and word choice. I like the variation that you put in your words, but sometimes, occasionally, though you start well, but at the middle of your conversation, you tend to be a little fast than how you started off. That might affect your pronunciation a tad bit, but overall, you yourself know, because of your academic background and all, you're a pretty good contender. But just as a pointer, if you are in any case maybe at a loss of words, or you need to form the answer at the back of your mind, you may proceed your answers with phrases like maybe "give me a moment to think," or that's not a straightforward answer for me, or maybe "I haven't thought about it that way." See, if you do that, you get some time to think or organize the answer in your head properly, then you can deliver. Maybe that can actually give you a better score. You know you are already somewhere around 7 or more, but then there is still room to improve. But then if you do blunders in the middle that you haven't done today, if you do that, you might drop to a 6 or 6.5, but that is something you would be cautious about.
Thank you, ma'am. That is very helpful.
I hope that would help you when you actually become an examinee somehow. Thank you, Doctor. That was helpful. Not many people can actually collaborate that way. Good enough? Okay. So, if you want some speaking tips, first and foremost, some people tend to think that speaking in a difficult language or maybe using comparatively harder words would give you more marks. No, ma'am, or no, sir. Absolutely red flag there. You can be simple yet clever, completely usual, but a little tactful with your language so that you can achieve a higher score. And make sure that you minimize your mumbling to a minimum level. Remember that the examiner knows you are not a native speaker. No matter how good you are with your English, you are bound to make mistakes or stumble anywhere that you are in your conversation. So don't worry about that. So just be yourself. And one problem that I have faced with many of my students is that they tend to think that using an additional accent somewhat like a foreigner would enhance their speaking. No, again, please speak in your original tone and try to bring a variety to your responses. One more pointer is, if you are answering in maybe like 2 sentences or 3 sentences, try to avoid repetition or redundancy, as it is called in the linguistic feature. Maybe, for example, if you're saying, I like this. Again, maybe, see, it's becoming monotonous. It's becoming a little boring. If this happens, the fluency of your speech would be hampered. You don't want this to happen. And also make sure you know the correct spellings of the words that you use, because spellings affect pronunciation. Also, if you are habituated to using your village dialect, for example, I would be, no offense here anyone, but if you are from Noakhali, Borishal, Kumilla and Chittagong, and if you are habituated to speaking in your village language at home, that will come into your English accent, sir. And that is not a good thing. For instance, poor becomes poor, jug becomes jog. That your examiner doesn't know that you're from a different area, right? So that will be a flaw in your speech that you can easily avoid if you can regulate your pronunciation and also your speed. Some people, for example, the person in front of me himself has this habit of, starting very well at a good speed, but then becoming a literal bullet train at the middle of his conversation. You can't be speedy in the middle and then again slow down. Like, follow a consistent speed. I am not telling that you have to be very slow as if you are sleeping. No. And again, you cannot be very fast either. So you have to be like somewhere in the middle so that everybody can properly understand you. And one more thing is, the more you listen, the better your accent will become. So listening and speaking actually goes hand in hand. If you are not habituated to listening English stuff, start doing so today. So please invite every one of your friends along with yourself to our page and to our office to have more of these conversations and many things else. Okay, so thank you for being with us all throughout this time. I hope you've enjoyed this live as much as I did, and I hope Tafsirul did too, because this was a very new experience for me, and I intend to do more of these today or sometime after.